What was the process like for you as a kid to find out what the card that week was going to be in Louisville?
Well, in Louisville, might have been different than some of the other towns in the territory. In Louisville, the newspaper ad was in the Sunday paper. In the early years, they put it in the Sunday paper and also in Monday and Tuesday, and the matches were Tuesday night. But then later on, I think they wanted to save money. But the card was in the Sunday paper for if you missed the TV show on Saturday. And then sometimes when TV got bumped to Sunday, you may have been able to read the paper and see what the card was before you watched the TV show, but it was for the following Tuesday. That was the promotion. Your television show that aired on Saturday gave the card and had promos for the matches, and the TV or the newspaper on Sunday listed the card in the ad in the sports section. And unless they had Bockwinkel coming in 82 or something really big going on and they'd buy a few TV commercials on Channel 3, that was the extent of the advertising, and sometimes radio. But not a lot of times it'd just be the wacky DJs talking about that they were the ring announcers. That was the promotion for the card every Tuesday night. The tickets went on sale Monday morning at the Louisville Gardens box office, and they were on sale Monday from 9 to 5 and Tuesday from 9 o'clock until match time. There was no Ticketmaster. There were no satellite ticket outlets. You either got them at the box office at the Gardens or you walked up that night. And that's the thing is in the territory days, your advance on a regular house show or regular town that you ran every week or every 2 weeks, every month, whatever, regular schedule, your advance would be 25 to 30% of your total house. In other words, if you did 10 grand, your advance was 3 grand. You would triple or quadruple whatever you had at 5 o'clock on day of the show for an advance sale. Your house would end up being 3 to 4 times that. On spot shows at local high schools or wherever the fuck, it was 8 to 10 times. Whatever your advance was, your house would be 8 to 10 times that. Now, and I found this out in Ring of Honor 10 or 15 years ago, the advance of a wrestling show now these days is like 90% of the fucking house. And and the tickets were cheaper then. You didn't have any Ticketmaster fee or a service charge or whatever. You just went to the box office at the building and paid $5 for your fucking ticket.
I wanted to ask you that. How do you think things would have been different in the territory days for both the promoters and the fans if, as opposed to a Ring of Honor running a rec center or this place or that place, if you're running a regular territory and the big buildings or the semi-big buildings in your town were Ticketmaster buildings, and every ticket was going to have all those fees attached to it, how would that have affected the territories and specifically a weekly territory?
Probably put them out of business. Because we had to pay a Ticketmaster fee at the Knoxville Civic Coliseum even back in the 90s. It was whatever it was, like 25% of every, or 25%, 25 cents for every ticket sold just to print the fucking ticket out of the thing or whatever, and a Ticketmaster setup charge, blah, blah, blah. And now with the amount of money that the tickets cost, plus the service charges, the fees, the whole 9 yards, it'd be ridiculous. No, you could go to wrestling. If the general admission tickets were $5, that's what you paid to get in, $5 fucking dollars. And here, there was a difference in Memphis now in the Louisville pattern that I just laid out. In Memphis, they put the ad for the Monday night matches at the Coliseum in Saturday's paper, and as well as Sunday. Saturday's paper, the early edition, came out on Friday nights. So I figured out that on Friday night, if we were in Tupelo or wherever the spot show was, and I was driving into Memphis for TV the next morning, I could stop at the Shoney's, where I always stopped at the breakfast bar there on Sycamore View. And by the time I finished eating, I could go to the corner of Summer Avenue and Sycamore View. There was a newspaper box, and the Saturday morning papers would be out. I could get a paper and read the card to see what I was booked to do. But because that the newspaper ad with the card came out before the TV show on Saturday morning, sometimes it was a dummy card. The main event was false booked because they would do an angle on TV Saturday morning and somebody'd get in a fucking hoo-ha and they would call Eddie Marlin out and say, change the card. I'm not going to wrestle so-and-so, or I'm not going to defend the title against so-and-so, or it's going to be a tag team match, or I'm going to wrestle this guy, or we're going to add a match or whatever. And they would change the card. That's why some of the newspaper ads for the Memphis cards do not reflect the matches that actually took place, because to make it look more legitimate when they changed it on television, they would actually put a phony card or a phony main event in the newspaper ad. And then they would change it on TV. Everybody in town watched the TV show. And then they would know what the fuck was happening. And tickets in Memphis were on sale at the box office at the Coliseum all afternoon on Saturday. I think they may have done something on Sunday also, and then all day on Monday until match time. Again, that's where you got your tickets. And the biggest walk-up would come between the matches in Memphis start at 7:30. The biggest walk-up would come between 7:30 and 8:30 for the people that didn't give a fuck about the whole show, but they wanted to see the main event and what Lawler did, so they'd come in an hour after the matches started, but they'd get the $3 general admission ticket and sit up in the top. And plus, they got a chance to go down to the box office and talk to Lawler's mother. Hazel was the woman running the selling the tickets in the box office. So that was how everybody got, that was how the cards were advertised, and that was how everybody got their fucking tickets. And again, the only other advertising in Memphis was Jimmy Hart would get up early and go to the radio on Monday morning and, do that. Otherwise, there was no mass promotion. Everybody watched the TV, and if you missed the TV, you knew to check the paper and see what the lineup was. And this was not something that was unique to the Tennessee territory. It was that way in almost every territory. A newspaper ad and the TV show, and that was the promotion. The people knew how to get there and knew how to find it.